Parkinson's disease. This is quite a common neurological condition that affects approximately 90,000 people in Australia and New Zealand. The average age of diagnosis is 65 years. However, younger people can be diagnosed with Parkinson's too, and this is referred to as young onset Parkinson's. Currently, there is no known cure for Parkinson's disease, and there is no known cause or understanding of why a person develops this condition. The underlying cause of Parkinson's symptoms relates to a decline in the production of a brain chemical called dopamine. The lack of dopamine means people can have difficulty controlling their movements and moving freely, hence why Parkinson's is categorised by clinicians as a movement disorder. However, it doesn't just affect movement. Non-motor symptoms such as pain, depression, and problems with memory and sleep can also occur and have an impact on the day-to-day life of a person living with Parkinson's. There are several treatments available that can allow a person with Parkinson's to lead a fulfilling and productive life. Deep brain stimulation, DBS, is one such therapy. As Roberto described earlier today, DBS therapy uses surgically implanted electrodes deep in the brain, attached to a medical device to deliver carefully controlled electrical stimulation to precisely targeted areas of the brain, resulting in a control of symptoms and vastly improving a patient's quality of life. Medtronic has been the pioneer and innovator of DBS therapy for 25 years, leading the way in this unique therapy offering and expanding indications beyond movement disorders and into epilepsy and obsessive-compulsive disorders. Today, more than 125,000 patients worldwide and approximately 2,000 people in Australia and New Zealand are benefiting from deep brain stimulation. I have the privilege to be involved with DBS patients. Many a time they share with me the trials and tribulations of their condition, the impact to their family members and carers, and their bravery to undertake DBS surgery resulting in life-changing experiences. I continue to be inspired every day by DBS patients, their approach to life, overcoming adversity, and their determination to not let this condition defeat them. And occasionally you meet a patient who wants to go beyond their personal challenges and contribute to their community by building awareness, educating others, and sharing publicly their life stories so that others may benefit. Such a person is Andy McDowell, a young onset Parkinson's patient who today is managing his Parkinsonism with DBS therapy. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Andy to the stage, who is here today with his wife Kate, to share with you his inspirational journey.
Thank you for that introduction. And wow, I didn't sign up for this many people. That's not fair. And I'll tell you what, you two guys, that's a tough act to follow. Typical putting the Kiwi after you two. Like, how the hell do you follow that up? I'll give them my best shot. Look, what that video was telling was it's kind of like the culmination of a whole bunch of stuff. Because there were two videos shot by Attitude Live, and they've been showing on TV in New Zealand and ABC over the last year. Some of you may have seen that or not, but that was just an intro to the second one. But what I'm going to do today is just talk to you a bit about my life pre-Parkinson's, life after the diagnosis, and then leading up to DBS and post-DBS. Before I had Parkinson's, I was a pretty lucky guy. I had a pretty incredible upbringing. I was one of those kids who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. I had amazing parents who supported me all all the way without somehow spoiling me too much. And I had a whole lot of personal Everests in my personal and business and social life. To all intents and purposes, I was a pretty happy guy, and I just met Kate, and I was madly in love with her, and we just had our first child. But something wasn't quite right in the state of Dodge. I wasn't sure what the hell was going on, but it wasn't very normal. And I went and saw the GP because I had a bit of a tremor, and I was a bit, to put, not to find a point on it, was a bit flat. But what was going on at the same time was a whole bunch of those major life events that everyone talks about that trigger depression or will tip any of us into a kind of a blue funk. And that my business, which I'd run successfully for 12 years, closed down. I paid everyone though, don't worry about that. I had a major relationship breakup. This is the girl before Kate. She lost out. My father died, and that was an incredibly tough blow because I love the guy to bits, I still do. And all those things were kind of going bang, 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 and I had Parkinson's running unchecked because I had no idea. And the tremor got worse, and I was sort of walking around with my arm winging and my foot stopped pronating. So I was just sort of running, going slap, 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 trying to get like this. And so I finally got, people who hadn't seen me for a long time would go, "Crikey, what's wrong with you?" I don't know, it's just life. And I really didn't think I was handling it very well. So I just thought I was one of those guys who didn't handle life. That all that life was throwing at me. So I was also having trouble in my work life. Because a couple of jobs failed and I got made redundant at one, and the CEO said to me, "Well, why don't you go and good luck, mate, and go get well?" And I didn't know what the hell he meant. But I went through a neurosurgeon, and the neurosurgeon did a full MRI scan and said, no evidence of tumour, no stroke, your spine's fine, off you go. And he noted the tremor, he noted the voice, he noted the stumbling walk. And if he looks back now, I'm sure he probably could have given me a bit of guidance, because I basically thought I'd been given the big tick by the brain guy. So off I went, and it took another year until I fronted up to a neurologist and got the diagnosis. So the wheels had well and truly fallen off, but once I got a diagnosis, it was kind of like, that was a real epiphany for me, because it allowed me to know that it wasn't just me not being able to cope. I had something that I could grab. Yeah, I mean, I had a bloody terrible disorder. I had a disease that was fundamentally robbing me of my ability to function. It was affecting my physical world, it was affecting my mental health, it was affecting my entire life. And what I was actually kind of proud about myself was how I'd actually cope with all those things happening to me whilst I had Parkinson's without any medication. So good, I gave myself a pat on the back and got on with it. Post-Parkinson's, post the diagnosis, we had Pearl, didn't we? About 7 months later. So we now had 2 girls. And 5 months after I actually was diagnosed, I wrote a poem. And that poem was very much a personal one that I wrote about my fear of telling my kids and how to deal with telling your children about having this kind of disease, because they were going to grow up with it, right? So one thing led to another, and a couple of years, everyone loved it, and I sort of published it online and started writing on Facebook and blogging and doing all that sort of stuff. And the next thing, I hear about the World Parkinson's Congress, and they've got this video competition, so I just sort of had this vision of actually turning that into a video, and I think we'll show that a little bit later. But enough about that. The next thing that sort of happened was I denigrated really fast, and it was a huge surprise to me that after 4.5 years of being diagnosed, my neurologist in Auckland said to me, what do you think about deep brain stimulation surgery? And I know this line's been stolen, but I just went, no deal, We have the program in New Zealand too. I know you think we're way back in the dark ages, but we're not. We're up with the play, you guys. So it was a bit of a left field one, but I had terrible levodopa-induced dyskinesia, and what that means, so basically the medication I was taking was making me, and you saw a little bit of that on screen, I was really dyskinesic, I was shaking, I was a rather small svelte version of the thing that you see in front of you. I was down to 72 kilos, which was the weight I was dripping wet when I left school. I'm now much more rotund, 90 kilos. I got some of it's muscle, most of it's here. But that's the thing, Parkinson's is almost, someone described it as a disease of starvation. I literally was shaking the weight off and I was quite poorly. So people have described me as being brave for having the surgery, but quite frankly, I had 2 young children and a family, and I want to be as well as I can for them, because your world shrinks. You stop worrying about making money and looking good and all that sort of crap, and you start focusing on what really matters. So I just said, I didn't really even think about it. I said, sure. And I mean, I'll make no bones about it. It's not the most pleasant procedure in the world. I think most of you know you're awake through it, or semi-conscious, because the wonderful surgeons are wanting you to move your fingers and move your feet. In fact, Robert, are you in the audience? Can you identify yourself? Where is he? Robert was telling me the other day, because I actually didn't know about this conference until about 3 weeks ago. He rang me up and said, would you like to speak? And I said, sure, thinking about 50 people. So, bastard. So I basically said yes to that, and where am I? Oh, Robert was telling me that he was actually in the room during the surgery, and I didn't know that. That's what you guys do. You have people in the room while the surgery's going on. He told me, he filled in some holes for me he asked me if I remembered certain things, and I said, well, I remember that, but I don't remember that. So that was fascinating to me. Because here's this guy I didn't really even know, I wasn't even aware of, and he was in both those surgeries that I had to have this device implanted. So then they turned it on. I had the second procedure and had the battery put in and hooked up, and then the next morning they turned it on. And they do an hour of testing, which is not a lot of fun. But by the time they actually got it turned on to quite a low level, but, wow, night and day, guys. I walked back to the ward with a grin this big. And that's one of the cool, that's the littlest thing, but it's the biggest thing for me is my smile is back. Because I had facial masking. I was completely blank. Kate didn't know if I was happy or sad, if I was grumpy or mad. I was basically mad all the time. So facial masking was one of those funny little things about Parkinson's. If you see people with wooden expressions, it doesn't mean they don't care. It means they literally can't smile. So to have my smile come back is a gift beyond measure. But that's not really what I'm here for, because I'm here to give you guys a little lesson in gratitude, actually. I mean, you Gareth and Graham have both said thank you, but I'm going to just ask to go a little bit deeper with you on that, because I don't know about you, but sometimes people say thank you to me and I brush it off. And what you guys have allowed you, this is like a time machine, right? It has allowed me to go back in time to a physical being. I mean, look at this. It's the mildest tremor, right? This thing rocks. This thing rocks. It makes my world a completely different place. I'm back to sort of where I was just post-diagnosis with the medication. When I got diagnosed and had medication, I was in pretty good nick. But then I went downhill real fast, and now I'm back to that space, and I've been doing a lot of exercise. I nearly exercise 4 or 5 days a week. I should eat better, but I don't. But and my children, who are my world, this time last year, I couldn't We had to have childcare, didn't we? Yeah. We basically had 3 or 4 nights a week. We had someone come in, and the other 2 I'd just manage. I was driving the kids to school with my left foot, left foot just on the accelerator and brake, because my right foot wasn't, I couldn't trust it. And, I couldn't be a dad to them really. I couldn't do buttons, I couldn't dress them, I couldn't do anything. So these days I'm daddy daycare. I do the whole thing. I take them to school, I pick them up, I cook their meals. I can't work, but I'm fulfilling my purpose as best I can. And of course what I'm also doing is what I'm doing in front of you guys here today. I'm raising awareness, I'm kind of making it human, making people aware of what both Parkinson's is like with and without DBS, because just because I've had DBS doesn't mean Parkinson's isn't still raging away in my system. And my motor symptoms are great, but the non-motor stuff that Liz was alluding to before is still there. But I'm a hell of a lot more capable of dealing with it because of my physicality. So I'm finding strength inside that. So back to the gratitude. Just in closing, I'm going to ask you guys all to shut your eyes, please. Go on, just shut your eyes. And just hear this. From Kate and I, the bottom of our hearts, and from Lily and Pearl, thank you, thank you, thank you, and bless you.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. Second time I've cried today. Andy, sorry. Jeff and Andy, what a team. That's really an amazing story. And Kate,
Thank you.
You've been a big part of that story as well. What was it like to see someone that you loved, frankly, sort of disintegrating in front of you like that?
I think, the experience of seeing somebody that you love in so much pain in their life changing so quickly that you can't keep up with it. Both of us, the speed at which the Parkinson's degenerated was so fast that it's like a grieving process. You get angry and sad, and my analogy was I felt like we were being tipped up and shaken, and kind of turned around to see what was left and a new world and what we were going to make of it. Hugely challenging, but I'm very blessed that I'm married to a man that's always faced it with a lot of determination and grace, and that we're such a tight team, because it will push you into corners that you didn't realise you had before.
Well,
Yeah.
As Andy made clear, it's not just a physical thing, it has both mental and emotional effects as well. So I guess, you can feel like, as much as you feel like you're losing yourself, you feel like you're losing that person as well.
Yeah, can I just talk to that? Because one of the things that I'm really aware of in this world is it's not just about me. The carers in this equation, right? The wives, the friends, the people who actually support people with anything like this, whether it's depression or a medical disorder or a disease. They're the people who actually often get left out. We all forget about them, but they're the ones who do the real hard yards. Kate works full-time. She comes home at the end of the day, her children, she doesn't get to mother her kids. And the courage it takes for her to do that every day, day in and day out, is just enormous. So I will publicly always declare my love and appreciation for you for that, darling. Smooth day.
At least the kids are fed and dressed. That's nice. So, as I'm to understand that the underlying cause is essentially a dopamine deficit. Yeah. Right. So, again, asking the question of the stupidest person in the room, and I'm only being partially facetious when I say this, why don't they just give you massive doses of chocolate or ecstasy tablets or something? Why can't you do that?
I tried that. Just kidding. No, I'm not.
But You can't just, inject dopamine. That's not
Well,
able
no,
to.
but Cinemet, which is the drug that I take, it kind of fools the brain into producing dopamine.
Right.
But it's pretty poor. It's a bit like the insulin pump you're talking about, because when you take Cinemet, it's a poor delivery mechanism. It's got to go firstly through the stomach, which is a really poor filter. Then it's got to get through the blood-brain barrier.
Yeah.
And they haven't found a way of doing it, an injection of dopamine into the brain. Maybe you guys should cook that one up.
A dopamine helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dope-a-dope.
I might need one of those
It's like
as
a
well.
permanent wave machine at the hairdresser.
Yeah. But seriously, this system fixes the motor symptoms, which is incredible.
Yeah.
It acts as a neurotransmitter.
Yep. Can you describe to us what, if anything, it feels like, not at an emotional level, but just at a physical level? What does it feel like to have these tremors? Can you feel this happening to you, or is it something that you don't even...
I mean, now.
Or prior to the DBS?
Well, prior to it, it was painfully obvious. I mean, yeah. Although I kind of got used to it. It was much more uncomfortable for people who hadn't seen me for a while. But you and I, you kind of adapt. That's what everyone does. You adapt to whatever you've got. And no point in moaning about it. You just got to get on with it. So but now I look back at that video and I go, crikey, I was terrible.
Yeah.
It was, I would never go into the kitchen with Andy in there with a knife. Because he would be flailing and doing these wide sweeping movements, and I kind of banned him from driving on motorways, and it was always a bit hairy. I know.
Not exactly they that.
And his walking gait, his walking kind of turned into running, so I was a bit like Prince Philip, where I was kind of trailing 10 metres behind or 10 steps behind. He was, there was so many physical things. Like the person that is here now is so vastly different to the person that was there before DBS, or, his physical person anyway.
And you got a smile back.
And he got a smile.
I'll have you know that there are plenty of people in television who pay good money to have that blank expression on their face.
Botox.
Yeah, you got it. Although you assume that some of them are...
Yours is looking good, by the way.
With some of them, you assume that they have a little bit of deep brain stimulation that's gone horribly wrong. Just too deep. You mentioned in your address that you had written this poem.
Yeah.
Now, as I understand it, the poem was then animated, and your daughter, one of your daughters,
Lily,
voiced the poem.
Yeah, she narrates it for us. So I think we're going to play that shortly, aren't we?
Yeah, why don't we do that now?
Okay,
Unless
cool.
is there anything else you'd like to add to this story before we do that? Because I suspect that the poem is going to be a good way.
No, I know Andy's expressed his gratitude to you all. I'd like to do so as well. It has been the gift of time again for us to reclaim his physical self and be so active with our girls and in our lives. And, it's not a day that we don't take it for granted. And, what we want is to actually be able to support others that are facing these surgeries as well. That's our focus for the future. Share the love. Thanks, guys.
And, can I just add one last thing on a personal note? I've been very struck by how, with all of our guests today, the process of coming to Medtronic and the process that has happened as a result of being involved in Medtronic really seems to have brought every family together in a really special, though unique way.
Yeah, I agree.
It's really touching to see.
Yeah.
So, it's Lily, is it?
It's Lily Mary. Yep.
Lily Mary, who's going to narrate the poem for us.
Yep.
Terrific. Let's have a look at the poem. Thanks, Gar.
So this, yeah.
Hello, my name is Lily McDowell, and I want to share a poem my dad wrote for me and my sister Pearl. That's my dad. His name is Andy. He has Parkinson's disease, but we call it Parky. Daddy wrote this poem so Pearl and I could understand more about what it feels like to have Parkinson's. The poem is called Smaller. I will now read it for you. My world got smaller. My handwriting. My voice. My walk. My spirit. My balance. The space in the world I take up. It crept up on me in micro increments. Those are big words for small and slow. Until it arrived with a name. And then it became big and scary. And I didn't want it. But now I had a face, a reason for all the smallness. And so it became what it is. I may be smaller, slower,
but I'm still me.
Yes, you are, Daddy.
Just before I let you go, I should mention that you entered that into the competition at the World Parkinson's Congress, is that right? Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you won.
Yeah.
Well, she won.
Yeah. Yes, it won the Grand Prix and the People's Choice, which was just incredible because we sort of, I was sort of 3 years into this journey and I was catapulted into the limelight at the World Parkinson's Congress, and since then I'm now sort of talking about being a judge in the next video competition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've talked my way in. Yeah. I'm my own PR. I'm the best PR agent out. Look out, Michael Fox.
Thank